What does science say about dairy and heart health? Maretha Vermaak, registered dietitian for Milk SA, joins us in studio today to answer a few questions on the subject. Maretha, we know that saturated fats are not good for healthy hearts. Now, dairy also seems to be high in saturated fats. So is it bad for our hearts?
Good morning, Lisa. Saturated fats, especially those from processed foods, is definitely known to increase the risk of coronary heart disease. So we see that we need to make lifestyle changes once you have a high cholesterol, for instance. And one of those lifestyle changes is for sure to lower your fat intake. But if we look at saturated fats, the picture has changed quite a bit if we look at science. And we see that, yes, dairy contains saturated fats. As much as 64% of dairy is actually saturated fats. But we see that the saturated fats from dairy act different to those that we find in processed meat or, for instance, baked goods. And the reason for that is the specific food matrix of dairy. Now, you may ask, what is the dairy matrix? It's dairy. The nutrients in dairy act as a team, and they all work together within a specific structure. Now, when the structure is milk, it's a fluid, or it's gel-like if we talk about yogurt, and it's a solid if we talk about cheese. And the nutrients within that structure cause that the saturated fats actually are lowering your blood cholesterol levels and not increasing it as we expect. So large scientific papers actually stress that products like yogurt and cheese and milk can actually decrease your risk for coronary heart disease, and not like we all normally think that it can actually increase your risk. So it's scientifically proven that the saturated fats in dairy do not act the same way. And yes, it's quite safe to have dairy as part of a heart healthy diet.
Well, you mentioned cheese and you mentioned milk and you mentioned yogurt. So are some dairy products better for your health than others?
Lisa, yes, actually all dairy products can fit into a healthy diet or a heart health diet. But we see that fermented dairy specifically has a beneficial effect. So during fermentation of something like yogurt and cheese, for instance, in cheese, even if the cheese age, we see that process would enhance or it actually forms bioactive compounds that we see that help to lower your blood pressure and improve your blood cholesterol levels. Now, cheese is often the culprit, and the first thing that a dietitian would tell you is that you can't have cheese if you've got high cholesterol. Well, the good news is that this new science show that you can have, if you use cheese or something like yogurt in moderation, about 40 gram cheese a day or 200 milliliters of yogurt, it can actually well fit into your diet and help you lowering your blood cholesterol levels, or at least maintain it. So it's got either a positive effect or a neutral effect on heart health. So yes, you can actually have all of these dairy products. Specifically fermented dairy is a bit more beneficial.
I hear the word moderation. So
moderation.
Everything in
Yes,
right.
That's correct. And as part of a healthy diet, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we've got full cream versus low-fat dairy. My favorite, of course, full cream plain yogurt with some fruit in. Should we still be choosing the fat-free or low-fat option if we've got this?
If we look at what the dietary guidelines worldwide tells us, they still tend to say we need to use low-fat dairy. But I've just been talking about the difference in science and the whole effect of whole foods. So dairy is considered as a whole food. And as I've already explained, the matrix effect is got the beneficial effect and make sure that we can actually use it as part of our diet. But let's look at the difference between full cream milk, low-fat milk, and fat-free milk. The only difference is actually that the fat has been removed. It's been removed through centrifugation, so there's no no chemical processes involved. And when the fat is removed, you also remove the vitamin A within dairy. So remember, if you use low-fat or fat-free milk, you do not get the vitamin A that's supposed to be in there. Other than that, the rest of the nutrients remain exactly the same. Your B vitamins, calcium, potassium, those are in the watery part of your milk, so you don't lose any of those, and it's exactly the same as what you would find in full cream milk. So if science says you still need to use low-fat milk, we need to look at, but what about the fact that whole food effect makes a difference? So it means that it can lower your risk of stroke or heart disease. So you can use, full cream milk without worrying too much. The key here is balance. As long as it's part of a healthy diet, and we obviously don't overdo it, it can definitely be healthy and no reason to fear using full cream milk. Also, maybe to explain the difference, if you look at the fact that the fat is removed, you obviously remove some of the kilojoules as well. So if we look at full cream milk, 1 cup will provide you with 3.4% fat, which is not very high, and 640 kilojoules per cup. Low-fat milk will give you 1.5% fat with 455 kilojoules. And fat-free milk, almost no fat, 0.5% fat, and only 340 kilojoules. So if you're on a kilojoule restricted diet, it would benefit you to use low-fat or fat-free milk. So my advice would be is when you have specific needs, it's always best to consult a registered dietitian to give you specific advice.
That's very interesting. Thank you, Maretha. I think we can talk about this all day. Can dairy actually help prevent heart problems?
Dairy provides key nutrients that's good for heart health. The potassium, the calcium, and the protein in dairy, as I say, help to regulate blood pressure, and it also keeps your blood vessels healthy. Now, studies have shown that including dairy in your diet may reduce the risk of high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, and also coronary heart disease. So as part of a healthy diet, that includes lots of vegetables, fruit, pulses, and obviously whole grains. And if dairy is part of a diet, including those, yes, then definitely it plays a role in supporting long-term heart health.
So what would a heart-friendly dairy intake look like in a day?
Lisa, that's a good question. In general, we recommend 2 to 3 servings of dairy. Now, if we say a serving is 1 cup of milk, or it's 200 milliliters of yogurt, that's typically 2 of those small tubs, or it is amazi, which is also a fermented dairy product, would also be a cupful, or then 40-gram cheese. I've mentioned 40-gram cheese a little bit earlier as well. Now, 40-gram cheese is 2 tablespoons grated or 2 slices of cheese. Normally just enough to cover your slice of bread. And remember, I said you can actually have that daily, and you can still have the benefits of it. So, or else 125 milliliters of cottage cheese. That is a serving. So any combination of these products, 2 to 3 servings, would help, or if it's part of a healthy diet. I previously mentioned lots of vegetables or sufficient vegetables. Now, science tells us that's about 5 to 6 cups of vegetables. Then your fruit, whole grains, very important to make sure that you have enough fiber, and then pulses, which is your lentils and your beans. If milk and dairy is part of such a diet, yes, then it's that would be a good idea of how much you need. So my recommendation for the viewers would be to use unflavored, fermented, which is your yogurt and amazi and cheese, and also minimally processed dairy as part of a balanced diet. And if by using milk and dairy, you not only look after your bones, you look after your heart too.
Thank you very much. That was a insightful, delightful conversation we had about dairy and heart health with Maretha Vermaak. She's a registered dietitian for Milk SA.